Hey, good morning. It is Monday. Listen, we're continuing to go through these series of inheritance, right? Stewarding God's inheritance for those that are a believer. Listen, we have a gift that we can use to help the body of Christ. You know, whether you're a believer or not, we all have gifts. But when I say as a believer, is because when we connect it to God, right, we'll actually fulfill what what we were created for, what we're supposed to be using our gifts, our talents for. Okay, so that's why I say that. And so one of the gifts though that God gives us, to steward is prophecy. Prophecy is a gift of God. In 1 Corinthians 14:1, it says, "Follow the way of love and eagerly desire the gifts of the Spirit, especially prophecy." Why? Why is it important? There's purpose for prophecy, right? To edify, to build up the body of Christ, to encourage, to inspire faith and hope. Come on, we can't do anything if we don't have faith, if we don't have hope. Prophecy inspires, it encourages us to hope again and to have faith, and it comforts us, right? Reminding us of God's presence, of God's promises. So the gift of prophecy is a blessing. Now, one of the aspects of prophecy that a lot of people, get mad at, even though they want it, is the direction that comes from prophecy, right? Sometimes it reveals God's will, right? Or it warns of danger, okay? And so as a spirit-filled believer, we can operate in this as the Spirit leads to edify, to encourage, to comfort, and to bring direction. Y'all, how do you know where to go? If a preacher or a teacher or evangelist or a prophet or apostle, if they are not walking in their gifts, all of these gifts, right? These offices that God gives us as a believer helps build the church to where when the enemy comes like a flood and all this chaos is going around us, right? We won't be so easily shaken or moved. But let me tell you something though. A lot of times people go to prophecy to desire direction. We said that, right? They want answers of the future and decisions and relationships. And, they look to prophets as a shortcut instead of developing their own relationship with God. Let's talk about it, okay? We have this need of assurance. I need like 5 confirmations. Come on. And we see that even in the story, even with Gideon. Like, come on, show me again, Lord. Show me again. He already told you one time, right? We misunderstand this gift and we abuse this gift. And a lot of it has to do too with the lack of patience. We don't want to go through the process. We don't want to go through discipline. We don't want to obey the basics of God, of what God has called us to do. And so we want a shortcut. We want to go behind. But let me tell you something. When you walk in this gift, you have the power to encourage somebody that is going to give up. You have the power to edify the body of Christ, right? You have the power to bring somebody out of bondage. You have the power to heal, to save. Listen, this prophetic gift allows you to operate in a place of darkness to where you can bring clarity where the enemy is trying to blind you. Prophecy is meant to edify, it's meant to encourage, it's meant to align people with God's heart. But when we use it to manipulate it, to control or elevate ourselves, we dishonor the gift and the giver. So we got to steward prophecy with love and humility. We got to let our words be God's words, pointing people back to Him and not ourselves. It's kind of like the story about Balaam and how God had to open up the mouth of a donkey because Balaam was in a direction that his heart was leading him and it wasn't to God. How do we steward the gifts that God gives us? That's the question. Well, this is a long one today. I tried to make it short. It was very difficult. We're going to have to figure out another way of doing these videos because some of these ain't no 2 minutes anymore. Listen, I pray you have a wonderful day today. But don't misunderstand the gift of prophecy. And don't fear it, but eagerly desire it. with a heart of love, to edify, to encourage, to build, to serve one another, not to profit, not to control, and not to manipulate. Well, I pray that you were blessed by that. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.